Hello, happy Friday. Actually, happy Friday the 13th to you all. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is KJ Hamus, and this is our slow flow plus yin practice, 75-minute practice. And today, I'd like to focus on the lung meridian. And so in Chinese medicine, and particularly how it relates to the yin yoga practice, there are 12 main meridians or energy lines in the body. When we look at different philosophies surrounding energy lines, we've got potentially thousands upon thousands of them. In the Indian tradition of energy lines, we would call these the nadis. But with our Chinese medicine and the theory of meridians, there's 12 main meridians. And today we'll be focusing on the lung meridian. And in a lot of ways too, it's pair the large intestines. So the lung meridian in our Chinese medicine philosophy is considered a zong organ or a zhang organ. And what that means is it's a regulator because it's a solid organ compared to the fu organs, which the larger intestines would be considered that. Our zong organs are the places where we house energy and also fluids. And what's really wonderful as we start to think about meridians in terms of our practice is that the lung meridian relates to fall. So I know the first technical official day of fall has passed, the equinox has come and gone, but it's a season of changes, and a lot of changes have been happening in the world in the past couple of weeks. And so I wanted us to take an opportunity to focus on the lung meridian and start to be open to new ideas as things begin to emerge. So when our lung meridian is in balance, we're open to new ideas. We're able to appreciate the beauty around us, and we're also able to appreciate ourselves in a deeper fashion. By balancing our lung meridian, we're also able to work toward relaxation and letting go during this season of change, not only environmentally, but there could be other factors playing with that as well. Our lung meridian starts just above the belly button and it runs down through the large intestines. And as it comes back up, it runs along the front side of our lungs, meeting at the collarbone. And then from here, it branches out from the collarbone down to our thumb and then back again. Oftentimes, when we work with the lung meridian, we'll also be feeling some balance in our heart meridian as well, as they carry along the same path. In particular, in the upper body, our heart meridian stems from the collarbone down to our pinky and back again, and that's on both sides. So that's what we'll be working with tonight. In particular, we'll be doing a lot of focus on breath, because the lung governs our breath, which is also how our chi or our prana travels in, chi being what we would talk about in Chinese medicine, where prana is what we talk about in more of the Indian tradition of the yoga philosophy, where we know our yogic practice stems from. So all that to say, give you a little background on what we're working on tonight. One thing you will definitely want to have with you, besides any other tools that you need, is a blanket or a towel. I will refer to a blanket primarily throughout practice, but it can easily mean a towel as well. So whatever works for you, but we will definitely want that this evening as we move into our practice. So with that said, go ahead and grab your blanket or your towel and fold it in half and then in half again and place it as a seat for your head. We're going to come onto our backs into an easy resting position with knees up to the sky. We want the blanket placed on our head just above the shoulders, so the bottom of our blanket rests lightly at the very top of our shoulders. Our shoulders are then resting on the mat or on the ground. So coming here, and I'll ring the bell momentarily to get us into our practice. But as you settle in, try and find a place where your body almost feels neutral. So thinking of your bone and muscle as a deck of cards or several cards, just lightly being able to rest on each other and feel supported. So we don't want the abs to do a lot of work. So if you're feeling that, consider maybe moving the feet farther away from the body. If you're feeling tension in the thighs or your low back is lifting up, maybe you consider widening your stance or bringing your feet in a little bit more. So start to adjust and explore what exactly that will mean for you. It's going to be very different. And then bringing your hands down to the side. Hands can be up to receive energy, or hands can be down to feel the connection and the energy and support from the ground beneath you. Whatever energetic circuit you choose to take, go ahead and find that now. As you settle into your practice space and your time, we'll invite the bell to bring us in. As you move from bringing awareness from external to more internal, take a moment here to adjust, to find the spot that will be most nourishing for you. As you welcome yourself into your practice, use this time to set a sankalpa or your intention. And as you do so, we take a moment to pause and to honor the stewards of the land who come before us, reminding ourselves that we are guests on the land in which we currently reside. And here in Washington, D.C., I'm a guest on Anacostan land and Piscataway land. As you welcome yourself onto your mat, starting to accept how you're showing up this evening, take time to honor and pause the first and earliest practitioners of yoga, this ancient Indian tradition that stems more than 5,000 years. We not only honor the first and earliest practitioners, but the current indigenous teachers who continue to show us the way today. So as you start to settle into your easy resting position, take a moment here to check in with how you feel. Noting how you're showing up and how comfortable you feel in your body today. Some days you might feel more comfortable than other days. And honoring and acknowledging where we're at in that journey. As you take time to notice how you're showing up physically and how at home you may or may not feel, take a moment to ask yourself, if I'm not feeling at home, if I'm not feeling comfortable in my body as it is right now, what would it take to get there? What would that look like? And this yoga practice may bring us more toward that. It might not. But accepting where we're at right now. As you move to bringing awareness to your breath, do your best to let your breath remain in its natural rhythm as you start to observe your breath. And that might be really challenging because oftentimes I know I personally find that when I'm told to focus on my breath, I go into a deeper sense of breathing and I try and take control. So as you work toward observing your breath as it moves naturally in your body, also send some compassion toward yourself, reminding you you don't have to master anything or perfect anything. We're all a work in progress. Just observing our breath as it moves naturally takes time. As your focus moves to your breath, start to ask yourself, where do you feel your breath move? Is your breath concentrating in one particular area, around the heart, around the belly, in the chest? Where does your breath originate and where does it end? As you're ready, start to ask yourself, what does your breath feel like? Does your breath feel rigid and mechanical, smooth, free? Does your breath feel jerky? Does it feel concrete or solid, or maybe a little bit extra airy today? And as you note how your breath feels in your body, note any visualizations or feelings that may arise here as well. We'll take just about another 30 seconds here, becoming familiar with the breath and with your individual breath. As you're ready, reaching your arms up overhead, draw your knees lightly into your chest, and then drop the knees over to the left, gaze to the right. Starting to open up our lung meridian by reaching our arms up overhead. As you make changes in the shape of your body, just take a quick observation of your breath, noting how you feel. And then as you're ready, beginning to lightly bring your knees back through center, and then drop your knees over to your right and gaze to your left. Arms still reaching up overhead. From here, go ahead and roll over onto your right side, pausing for a moment. This might be an opportunity where you wrap your arms around yourself and give yourself a really big hug that you rightfully deserve. And then placing your hands on the ground, slowly lift yourself up to find a comfortable seat. So your comfortable seat can be crisscross applesauce, sitting up on a pillow or a blanket, or you can come into a more kneeling position on a block. Knowing that here too, you can place a blanket underneath your ankles or underneath your knees for extra support. If you're having any ankle challenges today, this is a passive stretch on the ankles and may not be the best, especially if there's a sprained ankle or anything like that. So you can always come out to the sides and see how that feels, or just stay in a comfortable seat or finding another position that's going to feel best for you and your body. Since the lung meridian governs the air as it moves in and out of our body, we'll be taking alternate nostril breathing as our pranayama exercise. And so I have two variations to offer for our alternate breathing. The first is what we see that might be a bit more traditional. And then the second option is one that might feel more comfortable if you're still experiencing any sinus changes, any fall allergies. So wonderful thing about fall is it gets colder, we can get a little stuffed up. So how we normally do alternate nostril breathing may not be the most nourishing for you. So I'll first demonstrate the alternative option. And one is not better than the other. So please don't think if you don't do one of them that, oh my gosh, you're doing something wrong. You're not. So with this one, you'll bring your hands underneath your armpits. And for those of you who understand who Mary Catherine Gallagher is, you will get that. You will appreciate this. But as you bring your hands underneath your armpits, you're placing your fingertips on your rib cage. And you'll start to breathe in gently here, noticing the ebb and the flow of your ribs. So whichever hand is on top, you're going to just lightly place a little bit of pressure there. And hold that pressure for about 15 to 20 seconds, and then release it, seeing if you've found balance between the two sides. If you have it, you'll place a little pressure again. So you'll do that for a little bit, and then you'll switch which arm is on top and repeat the process. So we're alternating the pressure to find balance in our lungs and our rib cage. For alternate nostril breathing the other way, we'll bring our right thumb to our right nostril. Peace fingers can rest lightly on the forehead, or they can curl and release. And then the ring finger to the left nostril. Closing off whatever nostril might be a bit more open or a bit more closed, you'll breathe in through the open nostril. You're going to close the open nostril and open the opposite nostril and breathe out. And then repeat the process, breathing in through the open nostril, closing and opening the other nostril and breathing out. So continuing whichever one you're working with, finding the balance in your lungs and your nostrils, just working to create a little bit more harmony with the breath. So we'll be doing that for about a minute. I like to take my glasses off. I find that it interferes with my fingers, but it's totally up to you. And so as you're ready, breathing in. And then on your own time, switching and breathing out. We'll be here for about a minute. So start to establish your own breath rhythm, your own pace. Taking one more complete round wherever you're at. And then releasing your hands down. Just pausing for a moment to check back in. Noticing what you feel like in your own body at this moment. Where do you feel the breath move, and what does your breath feel like? Let your hands rest lightly on your thighs in whichever position you're at, and find a place where you can sit up tall, working with your natural spine. We'll do an exercise from the breathing book by Donna Farr, that works to marry breath and movement. The idea is that one doesn't really start the other, one doesn't really follow the other, is that we're able to feel the body breathe in with our movement and move in that fashion. So they're really connected without a lot of control from the mind. And again, this is not something that has to be mastered or perfected. So as hands are on the thighs, let them rest lightly. And as you breathe in, feel your fingertips curl towards your palms. And then on your exhale, feel your fingers lengthen and open up and release to the flat hand you had at the beginning. So keeping moving here, closing the eyes if it helps to take out one of the senses, or finding a soft point for your gaze. On your inhales, feel your fingertips curl in. And on your exhale, feel your fingertips lengthen and start to let go. Breath is moving in its natural rhythm. Taking just a few more rounds of this. Moving as slow or as fast as your natural rhythm is allowing. And on your next inhale, opening up your arms, spine is still straight, palms can face up to the air. And then as you exhale, feel your hands and palms turn back in. So inhales, feel the opening of your hands and movement. And as you exhale, feel your hands and palms turn down. Taking just a few more rounds with your own breath. And just noticing the connection between breath and movement. On your next inhale, when you're ready, feel yourself open up. Heart opens up as if you were taking a seated cow pose. Then as you exhale, round your back, round your spine, around your arms for a seated cow pose. So same idea with your movement. Inhale, opening up. Feel the arch in your back. Slight back bend here. This is also activating our lung meridian. And then exhale. Feel yourself fall in. And these are your own inhales and exhales. My breath might be different than yours, so move at your own pace. Finishing out one more round wherever you're at. We felt our progression go from small movement to big movement, and then we'll take it back down. So on your next inhale, straightening your spine, just opening up your arms. And as you exhale, feeling your hands draw down. Thinking about two more here with your breath. Arms are opening. Exhale, arms are closing. And then the next time your palms come to rest, as you inhale, curl your fingers in toward each other. And as you exhale, your fingers grow long. As you're ready, slowly let your hands rest on your thighs. Once again, observing how you feel. In many ways, the breath may have started to warm your body. You might feel a different sense of opening. You might have noticed other places where you feel more closed. Again, just checking back in with yourself. Remembering no right, no wrong. And then as you're ready from here, we'll briefly move into a tabletop shape, placing any tools off to the side for the moment. And from tabletop, curling toes under, lifting hips, finding downward facing dog. So let the body move into this downward facing dog as it naturally wants to. So that can include bent knees, that can include straightened arms and straightened legs. That could mean heels touch down to the ground or not. Again, it's totally up to you. You can even consider widening the stance of your hands. We'll take just a couple of breaths here. And from this space, as you're ready, slowly walk your feet to meet your hands at the top of the mat as you come into ragdoll. So in your ragdoll, again, go with your natural bend in your knees, what's going to feel good. This could be a great place for blocks to draw the ground closer to you. Hands can rest on your shins. Opposite hands can even reach for opposite elbows. Consider moving from side to side or front to back. And if you'd like, intertwine your arms in an eagle pose arms. And feeling the opening along your shoulders, which corresponds with our lung meridian in this forward fold, totally optional. You can even place your hands behind your back, intertwined that way as well. We'll be here for 2 more breaths. And then on your next inhale, releasing and slowly rolling up. As you find Tadasana, mountain pose. Sitting up nice and tall. Feet can be hips width distance apart, or if it feels comfortable, big toes to touch, heels can be slightly apart. Not so much so that your knees come in, but just a little rotation in the legs. Take 2 breaths. Ujjayi breath might feel natural in your body. If you know what that is, please go into that if it feels right, or stay with your natural rhythm if that is starting to feel, to help you feel grounded and feel connected. As you inhale, reach your arms up overhead, interlacing fingers. And as you exhale, lean over to your right. Coming into a standing half moon, hips move out to the left, stretching from top of hand all the way down through side body. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, lean to the left, stretching right side body. Hips moving to the right, starting to open up inside your rib cage, your intercostal muscles. As you inhale, come back through center. And as you exhale, fold forward, moving through a flat back if you can. We'll inhale, lengthen, nice long spine, crown of head reaches forward. As you exhale, step left foot back, low runner's lunge. Keep left hand on the ground, placing a little bit of more weight in between the pointer finger and the thumb. On your next inhale, reach right arm up, simple twist. Try and keep your right hip back, left hip forward, and that might mean adjusting the position of your right foot so you feel it's a bit more underneath your hip. We don't want our knee bowing in. Gaze can come up to the top hand, or gaze can stay down on the bottom hand. But as you do that, don't let your neck drop. Keep your spine in line. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, plant right hand, step back, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, step right foot in between your hands, drop back knee. As you exhale, on your inhale, come up, Anjaneyasana. So you can stay in a 90-degree angle, just shifting your hips forward, or you can lean a little bit more into this, thinking about opening up through your hips. It's getting a little warm in here now for my sweater, so if you're wearing a sweater too, feel free to take that as a moment to take it off. And then from here, as you inhale, cactus your arms and open up your heart, back bending. Feel the opening, squeeze shoulder blades open up. Inhale, frame front foot. As you exhale, come into a wide-legged child's pose. As you inhale, slide right hand underneath left, threading the needle. Left arm can stay straight or bend. But if we're working with straight, we're likely going to feel it a bit more in the shoulder, getting into our lung meridian. Pausing here, let's take 3 breaths. As you inhale, unwind, coming through tabletop. And then on your exhale, once again, downward facing dog. Deep inhale. And deep exhale. On your next inhale, walk feet to meet hands at the top of your mat. And as you exhale, fold. Inhale, reach arms up overhead. As you exhale, lean to the right. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, lean to the left. Inhale, reach arms up. And exhale, bow low, moving from crown of head down to root. Inhale, lengthen, flat back. As you exhale, right foot steps back, low runner's lunge. Right hand stays planted, a little bit more weight between ring finger and thumb, and inhale, open up. Gaze can stay up. Neck stays long, so you might just look through your eyes or look down. Left hip back, right hip forward. Take a breath in. As you exhale, plant your hands and find downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps forward. Exhale, drops right knee. Inhale, Anjaneyasana. Send hips forward. Breathe here. Again, 90 degrees. Lighter stretch. You're still going to feel that likely in your right hip flexor or moving forward. This time, cactus arm variation, or interlace your hands behind you or opposite elbows. Inhale, open up the chest. Feel shoulder blades come together. Palms do not have to touch. Elbows can bend. Take one more breath in. And breath out. Inhale, frame front foot. As you exhale, move back. Wide-legged child's pose. From here, slide left hand underneath right as you inhale. Extend arm nice and long. We'll take 3 breaths here. From here, inhale, find your way back to your tabletop. And as you exhale, downward facing dog. Deep breath in and deep breath out. On your next inhale, step your right foot in between your hands and rise on up, high lunge. So again, thinking about compression in your low back. If you find your arching in your back is compressing the disc, consider what your natural hip rotation is like if you have a more natural anterior or posterior. If you're more anterior, you may consider angling your upper body just a bit. Staying low in your front knee. Let your shoulders release down your back. What can you let go of to help release the tension in your neck and in your shoulders? Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, open up, warrior 2. So find what's going to feel most comfortable for you in your body while still feeling the stretch. Heels are almost ripping your mat apart. Let your arms extend out long. On your next inhale, flip your front palm, lean forward, and reverse your warrior. Stretch along the side of the body. Again, thinking opening up of our rib cage through our arm. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Inhale. As you exhale, plant right forearm on thigh and coming into extended side angle as you exhale. So stretching our side body in a different fashion, likely feeling this in our hip, maybe moving into our IT band, depending on what our daily activity is like. Now, we don't want to crunch our ribs on the right side, so still find your length. That might make you come up a little bit more. And breathe here. Press through your back foot. Inhale, come up, warrior 2. As you exhale, plant your palms. Find your downward facing dog. Let's take a full breath in and a full breath out. On your next inhale, step left foot forward and rise up, high lunge. So again, adjust your low back based on where if you're feeling crunchy. We want to think about length and think about keeping this in the legs. So both of our legs and our hips are more of an internal rotation. We'll take one more breath, drawing shoulders down the back, lengthening through our neck. And then on your next exhale, opening up, warrior two. So this becomes an external rotation of our front leg. Heels ripping the mat apart, arms out nice and long. As you inhale, flip your front palm, and exhale, reverse your warrior, opening up our rib cage on this side. Inhale. Exhale, extended side angle, drawing left forearm to left thigh. Right arm's going to reach up, so we feel the stretch on the side of the body all the way to our thumb, to our pinky finger. Not crunching, so not collapsing into our left ribs, but feeling them open up and even rotate out. As you inhale, let top hand lift you up, warrior two. And as you exhale, plant your palms, come into downward facing dog. We'll take a deep, slow breath in, and a deep, slow breath out. From here, slowly coming down to your knees. And we'll move into our first yin shape. We'll take praying mantis to start. So this is going to open up our shoulders and get into our hips a bit. Now, the upper arm variation is optional. You can extend your arms a little bit more in mantis pose, and you might feel that is a bit more opening in your lung meridian. The second variation can also help with that as well. So it's totally up to you. As you bring your knees as wide as they want to go, consider placing your blanket underneath your knees. And as you sit your hips back, you may wish to have a pillow or a blanket underneath your hips right on top of your heels. From here, place your blocks at equidistance apart, bringing elbows to blocks. And then sitting back, letting your head fall between. Your blocks might be just a little bit more ahead. From here, palms touch, thumbs come to nape of the neck. So finding your place to be and rest. We'll be here for about 4 minutes. So as you find this shape, I'm going to lift my head just because the ground doesn't really need to hear me talk. I want to make sure that my words are not speaking to the ground. With any yin shape, we're working towards stillness, as yin is a deeply internal practice, particularly as we get into the fascia, or our connective tissue in the body. It's also a chance for us to get a bit more introspective and let the breath release, which we know is really important in terms of the lung meridian. As you work towards stillness, the body may call for movement. Again, that's all going to be dependent on where you're at in space and time, if there's anything else affecting how you're showing up. So if movement is called for, try and understand it and take it mindfully. If you can work toward being comfortable in stillness, please work there. And it's just all going to take time. There's no right or wrong. So yeah, so we'll hold things for a length of time, and in this shape, about 4 to 5 minutes. Working toward the stretch in the body and working away from pain. So if any position you've gotten into is starting to cause pain, back out of it. From here, to extend your arms and slowly, mindfully move out of your shape, however you choose to do so, taking your time. We're going to move into frog pose next. It's a little bit deeper of a hip opener, so I'm going to offer up several options to help you meet yourself where you're at. And one of the important things I want to get across in terms of getting into our lung meridian is extending the arms out in this shape. So finding where that's going to feel most comfortable for you to be able to do that. So first option is a half frog variation. I'm going to demonstrate this shape using the length of my mat, but depending on how your knees feel and what padding you've got around you, you may wish to do this going this way. So I'll demonstrate from the side, but you may wish to be able to make sure your knees are placed on the mat. If you don't have the space to be able to do that, this is where a blanket or a towel can come in real handy. So for half frog pose, you're going to lay on your belly. And I'm going to lay slightly on my side because my child in my belly does not care for me to lay directly on my belly. But as you do this, coming onto your belly, extending out long, you bring one leg out to roughly a 90-degree angle. So knee coming out directly from your hip and then folding that way. So, and extending your arms. So this is our half frog pose. So that's option one. Option two is taking the shape on your back in a happy baby position. Even using a wall if you happen to have one handy, that can work really well, especially as you move into that external rotation of your hips. So for happy baby, you can reach for peace fingers around big toes. You can reach for the outsides of your feet. Or what I like to do sometimes is place my hands just lightly underneath my knees and feel my upper arm rest on my thighs, letting the hips rotate out. If you were to take this up against the wall, place the soles of your feet on the wall. And then from here, you can also take the final variation of frog pose. So starting off in our back to our wide-legged child's pose, opening up your knees as much as you'd like, and then rotating your feet so you feel them come out to your 90-degree angle. You'll start to come down, just shifting your weight forward a little bit so your hips feel almost over the center of your body. Staying on your forearms here if you'd like. You can even place a block underneath your forearms or underneath your head. One option that I particularly like that uses my tools involves a pillow and a couple of blocks. Placing my blocks in a line, and then placing my pillow on that. This will support my upper body a bit more as I move into that extension. You can also keep your toes a little bit more touching if you'd like. And then from here, if you're taking the front variation, you'll extend your arms out to the side. So this, in this variation and in the other variations, you're going to feel a stretch on the inside of your legs. And with our arms extended out, whether that's up to the sky or on the ground, we'll be activating our lumbar meridian. And so we'll remain here for about 4 minutes. If you've already been in this shape because you know where you're going, you'll just be in here a little bit longer, but knowing you can always come out of it should you need to. And I'll also give, if you're taking half frog, I'll let you know when we're about 2 minutes in so you can switch sides. As you settle in a bit more with your shape, just notice your breath and its natural rhythm. So starting to feel it move, hopefully a little bit more freely, a little more effortlessly. If you've taken half frog, go ahead and switch sides. From here, start to make your way out. If your feet were more outturned, you're on your belly, maybe draw your feet back together in your child's pose. And then lift yourself up. For those of you in happy baby, maybe you rock from side to side before you release your legs. If you were in half frog pose, slowly coming out of it and finding your way onto your back. We'll all meet on our backs, moving into our easy resting position once again. So reaching for your blanket, your head will rest on your blanket and your knees coming up to the sky. I want to just check in with our breath, with our body, noticing how we feel. So as you invite your breath in, its natural rhythm during this pause, this variation on puddle pose, just take a moment to ask yourself, where do you feel your breath move? And what does your breath feel like? We'll begin to navigate ourselves toward banana pose. Noting you can always keep your blanket underneath your head. Extend your arms and legs nice and long. And reaching both up overhead. You might find as we get into this shape, you want to adjust your blanket or bring your bolster or pillow in to help lift up your arms a bit. But through the extension, let's walk our legs over to the right side of our arms over to the right side of our mat, creating a crescent moon shape on the ground, or a banana shape, if you will. So this is working from our hands all the way down into the intercostal muscles in our rib cage, so creating more space and hopefully releasing any tension, fascial tension around the lungs, down through our leg to our IT band. You can cross the ankles, inner to outer or outer to inner. If being on your back feels uncomfortable, you can take this same shape using your pillow or your bolster, or maybe a stack of pillows. As we're working on our left side stretch, you'll place your pillow like in between your hip and your upper body, extending once again, arms and legs out long. You might be both pillows here to help lift this up and find that deeper variation, that deeper stretch. And slowly see if you can let your breath move in its natural space. Closing the eyes or finding a soft point for your gaze. Is this a place where you can let go, where you can release? How can this shape help you toward your intention? How can this shape start to help you feel more comfortable in your body today? From here, beginning to navigate yourself back to center. Pausing for a moment, maybe releasing your hands or drawing your knees back up to the sky. Checking back in, noticing how you feel. And then as you're ready, begin to move to your other side, your opposite side in banana pose. Or switching which side your pillow will be resting on if you're taking our other variation. Noting any differences between the two sides, noticing any differences in the breath. And as you settle more into the shape, even naming the images or feelings that are arising. From here, just starting to make your way back to center. Taking your time. We'll have one more shape to close out our practice. We'll be taking a supported fish pose. And for tonight's supported fish, we're going to recommend using either your pillow or your blanket. If you're using your blanket, unfolding it so you can get it to a point where you can roll up into a more spherical shape here. So whichever variation you're going to use, placing either your blanket or your pillow just directly below your scapula, or maybe in between. Letting your arms extend out. Legs can be long. Your legs can even come into a butterfly pose. So you want to feel an opening of your chest as we're working into it from our collarbone. And again, since the lung meridian runs the same direction as our heart meridian, you'll likely be feeling this in your heart space, in your heart meridian as well. So taking those on real shape, supported fish. And being very mindful of your heart here as well. You might find as you come into the shape that this is a lot to take in emotionally, as we are a bit more exposed in the heart area. So if emotions are coming up, or if you're starting to feel out of harmony, again, this is lung meridian is supposed to be a place of self-acceptance, of seeing the beauty, being open to new ideas, and all of that seems to be an opposite. I invite you to come out of it a little bit and maybe even just on your belly. Continuing to stay here if you'd like, even just for a little bit longer, or for the rest of Savasana, final resting pose. You can always remove your tool as needed. Coming onto your back, onto your belly. You may even shift into bringing legs up the wall. Whatever's going to feel most nourishing for you. You may even decide to move to a couch or to a bed for a little bit of extra rest and a little bit of ease. As you find this final resting position, wherever it's at, just take a moment to observe your breath, to observe how you feel. Is there anything in this moment you can do to let go of something that is not serving you? Which is what happens when our lungs exhale. We're letting go of something old, something that may not be working for us anymore. But also our exhale can be very calming as we do that. But it's also an opportunity to just to check in. Can we find a way to be 5 to 10% more comfortable even as we let go? Stay here as long as you'd like. If you're ready, start to reawaken your senses, inviting gentle movement back into your body. Maybe even taking a deepening of your breath. Moving through your space, through your time. Start to find your way to a comfortable seat. Letting your hands rest lightly, whether on your thighs, down for grounding, up to receive energy, or even in the lap in Dhyana Mudra, one palm over the other with thumbs to touch. Drawing yourself back to your sankalpa, your intention that you set at the beginning of your practice. Honoring yourself for showing up tonight. Continuing to accept your body, your emotions, and your mind, where they're at, and how they presented today. And we bring our hands in prayer position in a moment of gratitude, thanking those who joined us tonight to create our virtual community. Be the positive change you wish to see in the world. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night and a wonderful weekend. If you take Yin on Sundays with me at 5:30, there will be no live class, but I will have a pre-recorded class up and ready to go. Thank you once again, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good one.